So guys, today Maponga is very angry and I don't know why actually. But let's watch his video speaking unequivocally on why Africa is lagging behind and on why Africa is punching below her weight. Then when we come back, we can analyze the video. Now, just please watch Maponga's thought on this. Then when we come back, we can analyze the video. So I just urge you to watch the entire Maponga's video because it is eye-opening in one way or another. But there are some of the aspects that he's saying that I don't agree with him. But let's just watch the video. Then when we come back, we can analyze this video further. Let's watch this.
While you are swimming in the poverty of democracy, I've never seen a group of sick people like educated Africans. You are illegitimate children of the Commonwealth, which is common poverty. And you wiggle around this democratic thing and you think it will work. Take it from a fool. It will not work. It has not worked. You have your own methods in the past that are tested and tried, that our forefathers worked on. They built these empires using what we call consultative democracy. Not this thing you call democracy today. I mean, I'm not sparing my swords. People think maybe I'm afraid of Zimbabwe, I'm afraid of ZANU-PF. That's not the issue. Hear me well. Mugabe ran this country for 40 years. Was that democracy? Kagame is in power. Is that democracy? Museveni is in power. Biya is in power. Is that democracy? Democracy is window dressing. At the end of the day, these countries that I've mentioned, they are hiding under democracy, but in actual effect, they have a hybrid unspoken code where they're playing between kingship and democracy. They use democracy, the republic, to legitimize their positions as kings. Because that is the DNA of an African. We can deal with kings better than we can deal with presidents. Presidents we don't know. They are very new as when we received our independence. Before then, we did not have presidents. So we don't even have the DNA of the president in our hands. That's why when we elect these presidents, we address them as kings. We address them as kings. So, 40 years of democracy, which is actually a monarch. Now, Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa is in power. He has hardly done, and he has done maybe 7 years in power. Now there's CAP 3, which talks of the extension to 2030. I told you a long time ago, I don't believe in democracy. What gets me fed up is getting people's emotions worked up to think that after 2010, 28, things will change. Then you're told it's 2030. 2030 comes and you hope that 2035 things will change. 2035, you hope that 2040 will change. What if I can tell you what you don't want to hear? That the man who walks into power is not going anywhere. And while he's not going anywhere, we might as well just make this royal thing official. But then we hybridize it. It's not only one family that is ruling. We have a rotational system. A rotational system where all the 16 nations that are in Zimbabwe here, inclusive to the Ndau, Korekore, the Karangas, the Nambias, the Ndebeles, I don't know whether to call them Ndebele or Zulu, and the colored community and the white community and the Chinese community. We're going to have a quota of 16 houses. And out of the 16 houses, we force the 16 houses to consolidate themselves into units. So for 10 years, it is the Karangas. For 10 years, it is the Nambias. For 10 years, it is the Ndebeles. For 10 years, it is the Korekores. For 10 years, it is the Tongas. We remodel our own democracy and our monarchical system to a functional, operative, consultative, societal democracy. You lose nothing to think outside of the box or bend the box and think. Who told you you must be fitting in this square box? Every election, you're dropping those little pieces of paper. You're voting for your poverty. Until you wake up from your sleep and intoxication with colonial education. Can't help you.
I honestly don't agree with this idea of presidential term limit in Africa. But Joshua Maponga has been very vocal when it comes to extension of presidential term limit. Why am I saying so? Because just look at the history of Africa. Okay? We also have presidents in Africa who've been in power since independence, and they've done nothing. It is as simple as that. Look at President Paul Biya in Cameroon. He has been in power for over 35 years. Look at the president of Uganda, the same. Look at the president of Equatorial Guinea, the same. So this idea of presidential term limit extension so that we can realize our potential, I think it's old-fashioned in one way or another. Old-fashioned, okay? That you have to extend power so that this president can complete projects that he had started. And in one way or another, we cannot compare ourselves with other developed countries. What Africa needs, because even Maponga himself is saying that he does not believe in democracy. Okay? He does not believe in democracy. So he is also mentioning the fact that we need kings in Africa, okay? Not presidents. We need maybe lifetime kings in Africa for us to realize our potential. Do we really need kings in Africa for us to realize our potential? I don't think so, man. I don't think so, because I think Lesotho as a country, they have a king. Eswatini, they have a king. Right? They do have a king. Lesotho, Eswatini, they have a king. Can you even compare the economy now? Because they've been having kings all through. How is their countries performing? Okay? So we can actually benchmark from them, from those leaders, from those kings from those countries, and see if indeed the aspect of kingship in Africa can make us see and catapult our economy to another level. Chinua Achebe said that the problem with Africa is simply and squarely one of leadership, nothing else. Okay? We know who is a good leader, but we keep electing bad leaders. It's as simple as that. No rocket science there. Nothing like we need kings, the aspect of democracy. No. We have countries which are democratic. Maybe the US, they normally elect presidents after 4 years, but can you compare the economies with our economy? It does not work like that. We only need men and women who are passionate about this continent. Okay? We need men and women who love Africa as a continent and who are ready and dedicated to catapult this continent to another orbit level as far as development is concerned. Because we have what it takes to be superpowers. Look at the kind of leaders who elect into power. Looting public resources on an industrial scale. So, do you think if we have kings that will stop? I don't think so. I don't think so. And Maponga is, actually I've been listening to Maponga's speeches and I love them actually. And one of the things he normally say, we need to change our software. Our software is our brain, how we think towards leadership, how we think towards development. I agree with that 100%. So the problem with Africans is simply and squarely one of leadership. Okay? If we as Africans can increase presidential term limit, then can we benchmark from African countries who have increased presidential term limits and they've succeeded. Can you give me an example on that? No African country has ever done that. In fact, these leaders, when you give them more time in office, they think that they are like messiahs. They are looting on an industrial scale. Just have a look at Africa as a continent. Just have a look at Africa as a continent. Okay? Which president in Africa who has been in power for long and has catapulted their country's economy to another level? Can you even mention one? If you can mention one, then it's one in 55. Yes, 1 in 55. Talk about President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni. Talk about the President of Cameroon, Paul Biya. Talk about the President of, I think it's Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Biangwema Mbasogo. Talk about them. They've been in power for years. But can you go to their countries to benchmark? Because we've increased presidential term limits. So they've been having a lot of projects for 40 years that they've never completed up to now. No, I don't think so, man. The thing is, we as Africans, we just need to change our ways of thinking. We just need to, we need to elect leaders who love these countries, okay? Leaders who are able to catapult this continent to another level, okay? We actually don't need even to elect them. They can just assume office, extraordinary assumption of office, the same way President Traore did it, okay? Yeah, it's as simple as that. You see, for someone like Traore, when we say that we can give him like 20 years in office, he can account for the 20 years that he'll be in office, because for these 4 years that he has been in power, we can see what Traore has been doing. Okay? So, for your case, I don't know the president of your country, because I think most of Africans are watching this video. So I don't think their presidents can be in power for long so that they can amass massive development in their countries. No. And for that case, you as a president, you don't need to tell us the kind of development that you are doing. They can speak for themselves. Yes, they can speak for themselves. In Burkina Faso, you can see what is happening in Burkina Faso. The president doesn't go everywhere shouting, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. No. People can see what the president is doing. It is as simple as that. No rocket science there. So the idea of we as Africans going into the so-called kingdoms for us to realize our potential, we need to extend presidential term limits. That is ridiculous, man. Yes. And I'm thinking as a normal African. Okay? Just a normal African. This is how my brain is telling me. Yes. And these are my views. They are right in my own way. If you have your views, you as the viewer of this video, you have your views. It is right in its own way. So let's embrace Africanism. Let's talk to each other, and let's spearhead African development. So if it's your first time here, thank you for watching this video, man. Thank you for sharing this video. Share it as many times as possible to awaken all Africans of goodwill, both in Africa and in the diaspora. See you next time. Bye-bye for now.